new reality. Ask about special financing for veterans. They never charge an application fee, and you will work directly with one of their experienced loan professionals. Stop dreaming and contact American Dream Lending today, 786-802-1727, or online at adreamlending.com. When protecting your family is your priority, there's nothing more important than a roof above the people you love. Call Tommy B. Butts Jr. Enterprises.com, 954-735-9826 or 954-394-1411, and ask to speak to Tommy, the owner. They specialize in all kinds of roofs, led by their highly crafted, skilled, and professional roof mechanics. All of their previous customers have an opportunity to enter their bi-weekly drawings to receive free an exterior impact metal door. Please call for more details. That's Tommy B. Butts Jr. Enterprises.com, 954-735-9826 or 954-394-1411. Trust Tommy to fortify and protect what's most important to you, your family. The Big O Radio Show is looking for an experienced salesperson in the radio or TV business. The candidate must have at least 5 years of sales experience in the broadcast business over the last 10 years. Please email your phone number and resume to bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. That's bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. Looking for an aggressive person who can help our platform expand into many avenues in our business. Reach out if you are the person that's able to make the difference.
All right, Smackdown off the air, Square Circle Digest on the air. It is the Big O Radio Show YouTube channel. Got AEW Rampage just started off. It's Bryan Danielson taking on, I believe, Trent Beretta right now. That's the match going on right now. And, of course, I am Sean Stanley. We're going to talk some Smackdown. Steve already in. What's up, Sean? Not a very exciting Smackdown for me. I'm looking forward to more Ronda and Charlotte drama. Man, you're a glutton for punishment, aren't you, buddy? You just love you some Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. I am so over those two. I really am, man. There's other women on the show. But, hey, tonight's promo, Ronda was terrible. And they tried to get Charlie to walk her through it, and that didn't help. Luckily, Charlotte did pop up and save the day, thank goodness, because, I mean, Ronda just – when she does the heel persona, I think it's more her, so she feels comfortable doing it. When she's the baby face, and she just comes across as dry, so dry, so dry, so terribly bad. Nizzle, what's up, buddy? JP on Sports. I'm not the only one who knows. Yeah, Xavier Woods. They did away with the King of the Ring stuff before WrestleMania when they brought him back. I have no idea why. Again, it is WWE. You saw tonight, not only the King of the Ring. I mean, they bring in Imperium and they change the guy's name to, what was it? Ludwig Kaiser, and then Raquel Gonzalez is now Raquel Rodriguez, because again, you can't bring them to the main roster with their real names, because then WWE doesn't own your ass. Now you're Raquel Rodriguez when you get the push with big money behind you. And if it works out, great. We all make some money. If not, then we'll just make sure you go back to Raquel Gonzalez, which I don't think is that terrible of a idea, but I don't know why everybody has to get names changed. I wonder where I can apply. I'd love to be the name giver outer. I don't even know what the hell the thing is called, but I can come up with some better names than what the hell they're coming up with now. I mean, Butch, come on. Jesus Christ. Nizzle, I want more Cody Rhodes. I believe you're going to get force-fed a bunch of Cody Rhodes on Raw, so we'll see where that goes. JP on Sports says Ronda needs a manager. Yeah, she's terrible as a face. And again, she's not, she came from a fighting background. She's not a performer per se, but I think the best of her personality is being, that guess just she seems when she's a heel, she seems more herself. That's all. She seems a lot more comfortable as a heel and being a bad ass or whatever. Um, I'm feeling the new tag team women's champs. Yeah, I think. Look, man, I said two tag teams would I would hope would get the push. It'd be Naomi and Sasha, which ended up winning the title. But also, I thought Liv and Rhea deserved some a push there. But I was not aware of another storyline that was going on behind the scenes, which is the Edge storyline, which now has Damian Priest there. But ultimately, a name that was thrown into that mix, and you saw it start on Raw this week, was Rhea Ripley. The way she was disappointed, she left. She wasn't on the show tonight, backing up her partner. Her partner picked up the victory over Sasha. But ultimately, I believe Rhea will join Damian Priest and Edge in the what I'm calling Brood 2.0, because I don't know what they're going to call that group just yet. Bad idea to have all the belts in the bloodline. Here's the thing, Tony. It looks like to me, ultimately, basically, they're going to go to just the one. So ultimately, I think you're going to see the Raw and SmackDown women's title get unified, which right now that match would be Bianca Belair versus Charlotte Flair, which would be a hell of a match. And you're ultimately going to see the tag team titles get unified. I think they must have worked out a deal with, NBC Universal and Fox where they're okay with having the same champions on both, as long as it's probably Roman Reigns and it's the bloodline. I think honestly, they see, if you watch the show tonight, that crowd was into it for Milwaukee, but once Roman and the bloodline came out there, it picked up a little bit. The level of intensity of the show picked up, and nobody knew what the next step was going to be. I didn't think they were going to do something like what they said, but ultimately it'll lead to Roman being on both brands. It'll lead to the bloodline being on both brands. And ultimately, in the eyes of the ratings, again, SmackDown, and this week, by the way, Raw did a 2.1. A 2.1. AE Dynamite did 980. And I get it, it's coming off WrestleMania weekend and everything there. But again, Raw did a 2.1. It'll drop a little bit back down this week, I'm almost positive, but that's a big ass number, especially in this day and age of wrestling. A 2.1, that's real good, especially when they're 1.5, 1.5, 1.4, 1.5 to hit that 2 spot was huge. Steve Chapman, what I like is there's seemingly genuine dislike and hate for each other. Not nearly enough of that in today's wrestling. That's why I like their matches. But yeah, Ronda sucks. I'm like, no, again, man, they have some type of chemistry in the ring. They do have a okay chemistry in the ring. It's just, to me, the buildup with Ronda trying to talk and just, it's not even talk. She's like mumbling. She's just mumbling her way through the words. And you saw it tonight. I honestly thought she should have been better off just throwing down the freaking microphone and walking to the back and finding Charlotte and just going at it right there. Better than what the hell was going on with them talking back and forth there. Ron, hello, wrestling peeps. Steve said, and also keep in mind I arrived late to the party, so I haven't seen Ron and Charlotte driven into the ground like you have. No, 100%, man. And again, like I said about everything, man, just because I don't like it, don't mean that I might be the only one that doesn't like it, as a matter of fact. That's what's so good about wrestling and just in general. Just everybody's got a different style or a different reason they like certain wrestlers. Some people just like the heels. Some people just like the faces. Some people just like the crazy ass gimmicks, So let's see. What sense did it make to bring Shinsuke out to confront Roman? Absolutely none, Tony. Absolutely none. The only thing it made sense to do was he was a time marker, so Roman knew when to start cutting the promo. But other than that, it made absolutely no sense. And the fact that they had to replay 3 times him getting kicked in the face, obviously the time was off anyways, because they had to make up some time to before they got to go off the air. So obviously something was wrong there. I'm not sure what the hell was supposed to happen or if that was what was supposed to happen, but that was just, I mean, maybe they just wanted to get Shinsuke out there in front of the people. I don't know. No idea. JP on sports. No, you're not the only one. It sucks. Yes. All right. I'm not the only one. Perfect. Guess Shinsuke's next for Roman. I don't. Man, you know what surprised me today? And I know he's not going to get a main event push so quickly, but Madcap Moss got over with the crowd when him and Happy Corbin kind of did their split there. He's kind of a sneak up character, if you will, as far as being in a title. You know, you could throw him in there. He's not going to beat Roman, but he's one of those guys, maybe feuds with Happy for a little bit and then maybe slides into a match, one of the pay-per-views that's, you know, not one of the big four, and that might be somebody for him as well. Maybe, and Shinsuke, again, they've got a pay-per-view coming up here, in a couple weeks or 2 or 3 weeks, actually maybe closer to May. It might be closer to May. I may be wrong on that. It may be May area, but again, you're going to have somebody. So maybe Shinsuke is that guy, you know, just because he'll be the next person fed to Roman to just kind of put down. Someone says, hello, wrestling fans. And thank you, my number one fan, my dad right there. Let's see. Steve says, I like the Roman Brock feud for the same reason. They seemingly hate each other. Makes for a better feud when there's real heat. I think you get invested as a fan. I think, again, and that's the one thing I say a lot is it's about getting emotionally invested into the character, emotionally invested into the feud, you know. And again, that's something that, you know, I think more old school wrestling fans kind of go toward that, the story aspect of wrestling. I just don't know, you know, today it's more about the moves and the speed and the tempo of the match. Whereas the old school was more about tell me a story in the wrestling ring. I thought, look, I know a lot of people have, you know, crapped all over the main event at WrestleMania. I don't know what happened as far as the ending, but I thought the story that was getting told during that match, the just the brutality of the match, them hitting every finish and trying to win the match, to make the, you know, every finish was hit to try to win the match. Everything was hit to try to win the match, to win the titles, because again, they were the most important thing. At some point, again, I don't know if it's the injury, I don't know what the situation was, but that finish fell flat. But the match itself, I thought was telling a great story. The Sami Zayn against the whole Jackass crew. Look, silly match, whatever you want to say, but entertaining as hell, because they told a story as it went along that you can kind of get invested in. Was it a lot of fluff and everything else? Of course it was. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be. But the fact that they were able to tell a story through the match and still make it make sense to me, again, using all of the fluff and everything else there. Was it a ridiculous match? Hell yeah. But you could get invested into it. You can follow it along. Why? Because it told a story. And that to me is what wrestling is about, is to me. It's the storytelling. Going back to the days, the Four Horsemen with Dusty Rhodes, and they break his arm and they break his leg, and, you know, they shatter Ricky Morton's nose, and you always have those guys, you know, going after the Four Horsemen, but for some reason they could beat them, but they wouldn't win the war. They'd win a battle here and there, but they'd never win the war. You know, and that was the ultimate storytelling of that whole thing. The only thing that beat the Horsemen were the Horsemen themselves when they left. Then it became, you know, the other Horsemen there. JP on sports, Moss is good. Yeah. No, he is very good. He's very good. Happy Corbin has ran its course. Yeah. But again, I think that whole thing was brought in to bring Madcap Moss up and to give him the rub with Corbin and to kind of, you know, get that gimmick over a little bit. And now it's ran its course, as you're saying. And now they break the Madcap Moss off, and now you'll start seeing more of that character going. Again, WrestleMania usually is the season reset, as they said, you know, New Day said during their thing there. This is when it restarts. This is when you reset. it's a new season. So does this make Corbin pissed off Corbin now? Maybe. Yeah, that might be his next. It's better to be pissed off than pissed on. I mean, that's the one thing. So maybe it is pissed off Corbin now. So we'll see what happens there. Yeah, please make sure you're smashing that like button. I was just about to say how much I hate Madcap, Mossy, and Corbin are silly. Can't stand them both. Again, everybody has their favorites, what they like. I like Corbin and I like Madcap Moss. They are that the mid card level to where if you want to have a face, feud with somebody to kind of build it up, which is what they did with Drew McIntyre. They lowered Drew down after, during the COVID, it was all Lashley and McIntyre kind of getting force fed to you because there wasn't a lot of other stuff going on. So ultimately, Drew drops back down and now he's starting to get a little bit more relevant. I don't like what they're doing with Sami Zayn. I don't understand Sami Zayn and Drew McIntyre. I mean, I get the tonight, but I think that should have been a one-off. Look, if he runs from Drew, he runs from Drew. So what? Now you're bringing it back next week, and it's like, oh boy, here we go, another feud, another dumb feud for Drew McIntyre. To me, this is my thinking, is that it's just dumb. It's like it's almost lazy, like, oh, we don't know what the hell to do with them. Well, Sammy ain't got nothing to do. Okay, well, let's throw them together and let's come up with some stupid idea here. With what Sammy did at WrestleMania and Drew's feud being over with Happy, both of them should be being pushed up, not one pushed over the other. They both should be starting to get elevated, and I don't like the way that was going there. Looking back at some other matches, I found it interesting. Liv Morgan pinning Sasha Banks. Thought it was a great match back and forth. I do like the fact, again, a superplex. She hooks the rope or hooks the legs, gets the quick pinfall, and now Monday night you get the tag team titles on the line, which I don't see Sasha and Naomi dropping the titles this quickly. I sure as hell hope not. Even though it is Rhea and I know it's Liv, I'm hoping this is the Rhea turn, and maybe Liv can get a push. Her and Rhea can kind of fight each other here for a little bit, and maybe get a little bit of shine on each other, and make it make sense. But ultimately, I hope Naomi and Sasha keep the tag team titles for a while, especially if they're going to defend on both brands like they normally do. Drew's next step shouldn't be a dude who just lost to the clown from Jackass. Yeah, but I mean, again, the whole thing to me is in the story of things. Yeah, if you want to look at it that way, but the fact that Sami Zayn was able to make that match make that much sense on that level, Sami Zayn deserves, a huge thank you from WWE, because there's not a lot of people that can go out there and make it make sense. Could they go out there and get hit with a big hand? Yes. Could they go out there and get thrown through a table with mouse traps? Yes. But they did all that telling a story. As I said, he was kicking, Knoxville's ass and everything else. Then he goes out to get the thing, and Wee Man's there. And Wee Man, comes out and Wee Man does his Wee Man thing. It's the body slam. And then after a while, boom, he kicks Wee Man. He's down. He starts, getting over on Johnny again. And Johnny, of course, does his jackass thing, hits the pyro right behind Sammy. Sammy falls, nut shots himself, throws him off the top rope. They pull out the big mouse trap and everything else there. That, to me, and again, now what it is, again, remember, he went from being the conspiracy theorist, right? He was a conspiracy theorist. Then he won the Intercontinental title, which ended up leading to Johnny Knoxville costing him that title. Johnny Knoxville never finally done now. Now he's trying to show his toughness tonight. And the next person that walks out that door, I'm going to show them why I should be respected. And then it's Drew McIntyre, one of the toughest guys on SmackDown. And he's trying to get out of the match, but of course he can't get out of the match now because he said he would fight the next person that walked out the door. And now he's running for his life because he doesn't want to get his ass kicked. Again, when you start looking at it, and follow the Sami Zayn character, you saw it looked like he was going to go on an uptick, and now he's got to fight Drew. to earn his respect. And ultimately, what I think is going to happen here is you're going to see whoever Drew's next opponent is probably next week get involved in this and save Sami. And it'll be Sami and that person beating up Drew. And then somebody will come out and then that'll end up being the person that'll fight Sami. This is going to be set up to go along to elevate both. I hope elevate both Sami and Drew and not just be Drew just, claymoring the shit out of him and leave him laying next week in SmackDown. Steve Chapman said, love that match. I think, look, man, if you didn't, you can say whatever you want to say about it. I mean, was it a superb 5-star wrestling match? Hell no. But was it entertaining? Hell yes. Murphy says, can you smell what The Rock is cooking? No, what is he cooking? Is he doing those French toast things? Is he doing the huge French toast things that he does? AEW Swerve Strickland coming out now, and also the Heat. It's gone final 113-109 over the Hawks. The Heat win. So it was a pretty good day for the Heat. The Panthers also won earlier. The Intercontinental title and U.S. title is so irrelevant now. Tony, I couldn't agree more. But they are going to have Ricochet defend the Intercontinental title against Jinder Mahal next week. So there's something to look forward to. There's something for you to look forward to there. And I believe it's going to be on SmackDown. So Ricochet won't be defending it on Raw. So I don't know if they moved that or now every title is going to be defended wherever, because Ricochet is usually on Raw and that title's now getting defended on SmackDown. And hell, Finn Balor is the U.S. champion. And so, yeah, I mean, they're just placeholders. They're almost like ribs now, to where whoever has to carry them through, you got to carry them through security at airports and everything else. Like, who do you want to mess with today? All right, give him the belt, because they don't defend them on pay-per-views, and they're always doing contender matches on Raw and SmackDown, and the champion always loses. But then somehow the next week, I guess he learned from his mistakes the week before, because now he can win the week when the title's on the line. He's a successful champion, but when the title's not on the line, he can't beat anybody. That goes for every champion, except for, I guess, Roman Reigns. Right now, it's QT Marshall against Swerve Strickland on Rampage. So it's been a pretty good show for a Rampage. Brian Danielson. Jesus, I'll get the name right one of these times. He's always going to be Daniel Bryan to me for right now. But and the Great Good asked, "What is The Rock cooking?" I don't know. We haven't been told yet. All the titles need to be unified to too many titles. Yeah, but I mean, honestly, what I think they should do is they should bring back the TV title. I used to love that. Arn Anderson with the 20-minute match, 20-minute time limit matches. Every television, every TV taping, it was defended on Saturday night. Anything like that. You got to start making some of it. Yeah, they still have the 24/7 title. Dana Brooke is the champion, actually. Yep. The Gronk had it, and then he lost it, and then Andre Sarasco, what's up, buddy? Yeah, so no, it's Dana Brooke has it right now. She's in the middle of a feud with, I guess, who all's in it? Akira Tozawa, Reggie, Tamina, and R-Truth are all chasing the 24/7 title. But ultimately, I think you get rid of those titles and just bring in like a TV title. And I think you still need a U.S. title, or since it's WWE, I think you keep the Intercontinental title just because of all the nostalgia it has. But I think you go with a Intercontinental title and a TV title. You have your women's title, your women's tag team titles, your men's tag team titles, and then your heavyweight champion. Yeah, no. Todd Blanchard made it. Yeah, that, and I love the TV title he had. I love the TV title he had. And just, again, the TV title and the Intercontinental title used to be the workers' titles. Those were the titles that the guys that could go 20, 30 minutes would have that title, because usually your champions, again, not in NWA because Flair could go, But in WWE, it was usually the monster guys that had 5, 6, 7 moves of doom come in, drop a big clothesline, a boot, and then a big leg, and the fans go home happy. And then the Intercontinental title was usually the co-main event, which went about 35, 45 minutes, and it took up most of the card. Greater good, 11 guys in the ring. Heard about a Rose. Yeah, no. I mean, it's again, they do that now with the Royal Rumble now. They do it 30 contestants get in, and then, but even then back then, I mean, it I almost wish sometimes they do more of those just to, the first match of the card or the first match of the night is a battle royal, and the winner that night gets a shot at the US title. The winner that night gets a shot at the Intercontinental title. Do something like that, man. Have some, just throw some monkey wrenches in some of this stuff. It's just right now to me, the writing and everything is just off in WWE. The talent can go. You've seen it, you see it every week. It's not the talent, it's just crappy writing, crappy storylines. And then again, everything gets approved by one person, which I still think becomes part of the issue as well, because that one person has an idea of what he wants, and he's going to get it because ultimately he makes the final call. 24/7 AK hardcore belt. Yeah, pretty much. The only thing that's changed now is they don't use a lot of the weapons. It's just kind of they fight wherever they're at. I mean, they use some weapons, yeah, but they also had the United States tag team titles. Yeah, but I don't, man, I just think you start bringing in the 6-man tag team titles. I think ultimately AEW will bring in the 6-man, the trios titles, and you'll see that. I don't think WWE can do it, man. I don't, it's tough enough them getting tag teams and keeping tag teams together. I mean, could you imagine? I mean, what the hell would a 6-man tag team title? Who would be? And I'll throw it out to everybody that's listening right now. You're in the chat, whatever it's going to be. Is you tell me who would be a good right now with the way it stands in WWE? Who would you have as your 6-man tag team champions? I mean, how many teams would you? How many 6-man tag teams would you have? Because I can think of 2. One's got an injury right off the top of my head. But other than that, I don't know why you would have any more. And then I think, look, you start bringing in United States tag team titles. The reason the WCW did or the NWA did that was because they had the Road Warriors there, and your Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express. Those guys weren't going to fight the Road Warriors and win the tag team titles. So they almost kind of made hey, here you go. You're the second best tag team. And they had the better matches, and then you had the Road Warriors come in and just dispose of people as the as the tag team titles, because it didn't make sense. You weren't going to have any of those tag teams that you had there go and take the titles off the Road Warriors rightfully. Could you throw together a Nikita Koloff and a Dusty Rhodes to go against the Road Warriors? Yeah, you could do that. Then you get the titles off of them, and then you end up putting it up in a tournament, things like that. Those things happened, let's see. Steve says, if memory serves me, the Intercontinental belt started when a young Ted DiBiase brought the North American belt to the old WWF in the old days. Pat Patterson beat him, and it became. I have to double check that, Steve. Your memory's a lot better than mine. I know Pat Patterson was the first Intercontinental champion. That I know. I don't know the whole. Was it before my time? Andre says, bring back the Dudleys and Hardys. Dude, the Hardys, man, I love them to death, but man, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else we want from the Hardys right now. I don't know. The Usos would be good. I mean, but when you do, is this for the 6-man you're referring to, or are you just talking about tag teams? The TLC match, Andre says, yeah. I mean, did they have? I mean, Yeah, when Greater Good said loved it when tag team partners turned on each other. Great drama. I think, you know, the thing is, you see that. I mean, Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty's one of the big ones. You know, in the barber shop when Shawn Michaels, ultimately turned there. You see a lot of because again, you have so many built-in storylines there, especially if they've been tag teams forever. I remember Stevie Ray when he went to the NWO. I thought they gave up on that way too early with him and Booker T. But I don't know if that was a call by them. They didn't want to wrestle each other or whatever. But I mean, I thought that would have been a hell of a better story than what they did with it. But yeah, definitely. I mean, you can definitely when you turn somebody, there's a lot of again because you trust them. It's one of those things where it's built in that they're your they've always got your back. And when they're the one that end up stabbing you in the back, I it's just one of those things. Andre says, yeah, for the 6 man. I mean, the Usos would be good because you could bring in Solo from NXT and have those, that way be a 6 man. Or, you can do the old Freebird rule where any three of the bloodline, or if you add more people to the bloodline, you could have any three of them be the 6 man tags. But I just don't know after that, where do you go? Who do you just throw together any three? I mean, they throw together tag teams now. I mean, hell, they threw together Orton and Riddle, and it worked out like a charm. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't. They were put together to ultimately be what the Greater Good said. They're going to build them up as a tag team, only to have Orton turn on Riddle so that they could feud and lead into WrestleMania. Problem is, Orton got hurt. Riddle carried the tag team for a good little while. And then Orton came back and it took off. RK Bro took off. And they're like, hey, we may not want to, take the wheels off this train just yet. It's getting us some money right now. And so, we'll see where that goes. I mean, ultimately, I see that happening. And maybe since they're going to do the unification thing, maybe it's going to happen sooner than later because I could see Orton or Riddle now. Again, they could throw a swerve and have Riddle turn on Orton, however you want to do it. But I think one of them probably turns on the other, and then the Usos end up with both tag team titles in the long run. I'm not saying it's going to happen ASAP or anything like that, but in the long run, I think you're going to ultimately see something like that. The Greater Good says tag teams mean alliances, and that writes a story. Yeah, 100%. Especially when you can get Matt and Jeff. Speaking of the Hardy Bro, when they turned on each other. Hell, I mean, look at what when you look back in TNA when they did the Aces and Eight story, and Devon was first brought out as one of the Aces and Eights, and Bully Ray at the time, before he was announced that he was behind the whole thing, anyways. But there was some stuff there. There's some good animosity there and good storylines that they wrote up there. So ultimately, I mean, Edge Christian. I mean, there's a lot of Kane Taker. Yeah, when you look at that's just. I mean, you're right. I mean, especially like Kane and Taker. I mean, dude, if you've watched, if you get a chance on Peacock, go and watch the Evil Kane and Undertaker and watch that story, and just see that storyline went for almost a damn decade, man. 10 years they were able to just tell a story of two guys, brothers. One hated the other, and then all the stuff with Paul Bear, and then the changing of the story that Kane was really his son, and all the stories that they were able to weave into it to where then they started helping each other out and they became the Brothers of Destruction. The damn thing lasted almost, I mean, it lasted longer than that, but physically almost 10 damn years. And it never got old. Never got old. Tony, Sean, what do you think is going to happen when the Young Bucks face FTR? Well, they actually just wrestled last Wednesday night, and FTR got the clean victory. They got the big rig, and they defeated Young Bucks on the Dynamite last Wednesday. Paybacks and betrayals sell tickets. Yes, they do. Controversy creates cash. That's one thing Eric Bischoff said, and I agree 100%. I'm not sure what's going on in this match here, but Looks like it's going to be over now. Red Velvet's going to move on to the Owen Hart women's tournament. So, and again, that's another thing I think, again, when you look at what AEW does and what WWE does, and when you look at the difference, some of the thing, I guess Velvet's going to turn heel now. That's interesting. Cody leaves and now Red Velvet goes heel. Huh. Gonna be very interesting. I guess you got to reinvent yourself. When you look at the two products, and it's very interesting because Sean Chatroom, do y'all agree on WWE not ever mentioning Chris Benoit because of the heartbroken situation, or should there be some type of mental awareness approach? I don't know enough about I've read all stories and everything with that. I don't know enough about everything that went down and how everything, I've read all the conspiracy theories. I read, different stories from different, and there's some passages are the same and some are switched a little bit. And, I don't know necessarily that it was, mental awareness. Could have been the CTE and things like that. Yeah. Again, they have, they don't mention them, but now there's a couple of the shows that are on Peacock now. The WrestleManias, they've added him. I think he's in a couple of them now. They haven't, they don't go out. They're not going to go. You're not going to see him in the Hall of Fame. You're not going to see any of that stuff there. But also, I don't think you'll ever see a mention of him. And again, the one thing with wrestling is out of sight, out of mind. And whether it's right or wrong, that's one of the things that they do. It's out of sight, out of mind. If they don't bring it up or they can make it kind of disappear, then they're not going to really bring up a lot of it. I don't know that it was necessarily a mental awareness. You could maybe do a mental awareness approach, but was the situation caused by, mental health or anything like that? That's the part where I don't know. Dude, I loved Chris Benoit. He was one of my favorite wrestlers. It was Triple H. It was Chris Benoit. And that's one of, and D'Lo Brown was my other one that I truly, I loved all three of those guys. I loved everything they did. So, again, the whole situation was just, as you said there, Andres. It's horrible, dude. And they see so many different stories of different things, of different things from police reports. Again, I just don't know what is actual anymore. I know I've watched the Dark Side of the Ring and seen those things and told from people that were there, but again, I don't know what was edited, what wasn't, what was told. It's one of those things where I think what WWE said is pretty much, I'll leave it out of sight, out of mind. I just read an article showing so many weird questions about the Benoit murders. I don't know if he did it now. Was that the one, Ron? Was that the one floating around on Facebook? I'm just asking. I don't know if I saw one earlier. I think it was on Facebook somewhere where they're just, again, and that's where I'm saying, there's so much, so many different stories, and then you'll read this passage in one article, and then on this article, words are flipped a little bit, and there's just so much, so much unknown, I guess, is where it says, Greater Good says, you got to be built, you got to be athletic, most important, you got to have charisma. Yeah. No, 100%. 100%. I don't know. The interesting thing is, and it's funny because, excuse me, hold on a minute. Thought I was going to have to sneeze. Sorry about that. You don't have to be built. You have to be cut. Because the cameras can make you look bigger than what you really are if you're cut. If you're flabby, you're also going to look a lot flabbier than what you really are. Athletic, Yeah, to a point. Yes. Yes. But also you can hide your athleticism with your move sets. You don't have to be super athletic to be a good performer. Hulk Hogan was not that athletic. I mean, when you look at some of the guys that have been up top, I mean, they're not that athletic, really. When you look at what I'm saying, when you look at the grand scheme of things, when you look at football players and basketball players and other sports, are they athletic as far as can they do stuff? Yeah, they can do some stuff, but they're not super athletic. That's one of the things that's changed now with the current day. Is one of the things that WWE has done as started the NIL, what they call NIL, which is next in line. They go to colleges, and I know I've talked about this once or twice before, but they go to colleges basically and look for guys, athletes, football players that ain't gonna make it to the NFL, but if they like them, they're like, hey, come out here for a tryout. Let's see what you can do, and if we like you, we'll send you to the performance center, and we'll make you a WWE superstar. They bring in volleyball players. They bring in gymnasts. They bring in, all of them, and none of them know wrestling. And that's one of the things why sometimes when you watch some of the NXTs, I say some of them get pushed a little bit too quickly because WWE sees money in them, and they try to elevate them sometimes, to me, a little too quickly. But also you have to remember they're learning on TV. They're learning on live TV. Yeah, I saw somebody say something about Dean Malenko. Tony and Ron's correct. He's in AEW. He's a trainer, producer over there with Jerry Lynn and some other guys there. Let's see. And Andre says, I know he was a close friend of Eddie Guerrero. Yeah, no, they were Eddie, Chavo, and Chris. Hell, Chavo said he was at his house the week before everything went down. The week before everything, happened, he was at the house. Stone Cold was flabby sometimes after those 24 packs of beer. Oh, hell yes, he was. And he was feeling very good at WrestleMania too as well. Jorge Luis Ochoa, what's up, Sean? Learning with you here, man. Great content. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Look at Gunter. He's not ripped, but he's intimidating. Yeah, but that's the whole thing. He's what, probably like 6'10", 6'11", and he's just as you said, intimidating. And that damn chop, man. Dude, you hit me with that chop, dude, you win. Tap out, you want it more than I do. Hogan was terrible in the ring. All he had was a stupid leg drop, the worst finishing move in history. Wrong, Steve. Wrong, buddy. He had the Hulk up. He would Hulk up. Oh, he'd point you. Then he'd block you a couple times. Then he'd whip you off. Catch you with the big boot, the clothesline, then the leg drop. 3 moves of doom. 3 moves of doom. And then John Cena said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to up you 2 moves. And I'm going to do the 5 moves of doom. And both of them had great runs as WWE champions. Let's see what else are there. He texts Chavo his address like he wouldn't have known it being there days for it. Yeah, no, that's one of the things that came out of the thing, And again, I got to go back and watch. It's been a while since I watched the dark side of the ring with the Chris Benoit. I want to see what Chavo says in there because I don't remember the whole situation on how that went down. And I know Chavo went through that on there as well. I think Gunter's going to have a hard time finding opponents. He looked like he worked way too stiff. His chops are very, very, very laid in. Very, very well laid in. I don't think he's gonna have a tough time finding because I think people are gonna understand that, they can have some good matches with him. I thought, when he first Adam Cole on NXT, I was like, oh, this is gonna be terrible. It turned out to be a damn good match. Whatever happened to Viscera? He came back for a match or so, and I haven't seen much of him. I have to check on that, Andres. Don't know 100%. What do you think the future of the Gun Club will be? The Ass Boys? Yeah. I mean, look, man, if they can be half as charismatic as their dad and they keep doing what they're doing and keep their heads down, I think they'll be good. I mean, they're not going to be, I don't think they'll ever make it to what their dad was. Steve Blackman, dude, I saw him at a picture, I think at a convention or somewhere. Um, wasn't Viscera previously Mabel? Yeah, did he pass away? Did Viscera pass away? I don't remember seeing the WWE post that. And Steve, you may be 100% right, because I remember the last time I saw him, they brought him to do something with who did they bring him in with? Man, I cannot remember now. It was like one of those like the Raw reunion type thing. And let's see here. Yeah, wow. Yeah, 2014. Wow, man. I could have swore I was, man. Wow. 2014. Man. That means I would have been around what? Like 2010, 11? Man, it doesn't feel like it's been that long. Holy cow. Steve, good man. Oh, there we go. Let's see. Where was I at? Sorry there. Derek said may not have been the best technically, but understood the psychology of matches well enough to be the man. Derek, who are you talking about there, my man? I'm sorry. There's some stuff coming in a little bit before you. Did I miss something else that you had said earlier? Let me know who you're talking about there, man. Sorry, I don't know. I don't know what when you had stated that. I'm not sure where we were at in the conversation. Great match so far with Max. Let's see. Sunday Night Heat on MTV. Yes. Oh, Hogan. Okay. Yes. No. But again, that's what he understood, and he knew, that he was to take the ass whooping because all he needed to do was do the Hulk up, the point, the foot, and the boot. That's all he needed to do. He understood. He understood what his limitations were. He wasn't going to sit there and try to do, and it was pretty funny because in WCW, if you noticed, when he was the champion, he fought Piper, Savage. Like, who did he fight other than those two? And then Goldberg at the end when he lost the title to Goldberg. But most of the guys that he was fighting there were just recycled guys that he'd already fought. Boss Man, as whatever he was called there, Ray Trailer. What was it? Beefcake when he was doing the Disciple. And then he went to what was it, Zodiac and everything else. And then he went to Sting. I guess he did fight Sting, but Sting, that was when he was, he went to the Dark Sting, the black and white. He wasn't the surfboard guy flying around and doing all the crazy kicks, all the crazy stuff. He was doing the more of the calm down stuff by that point. But he never got in those rings in the ring with the guys that might show him up. As far as me, again, most everybody had a more skill set than Hulk Hogan, a better move set than Hulk Hogan. But he knew that he could control it with again, he had creative control, of course, with his character, so he could always control it that way. But also he knew that when he was fighting, your Savages, your Flayers, all those guys there, and no, he could wrestle. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he couldn't wrestle, but he's not your technical wrestler. Could he do some stuff? Yes, he can do some stuff. I've seen him do arm drags. I've seen him do things like that. But again, he understood what his limitations were. You don't want to sit there and watch a 6'9", 325-pound guy do arm drags and backdrops on people and everything else. No, those guys Him against King Kong Bundy, you wanted to watch them whoop each other's ass, and then somebody comes out on top. They're not there for arm drags and all that stuff, man. Wheeler Yuta, holy cows, he busted open. Oh my goodness. Moxley and Yuta. Wow, what a match. Say your prayers, take your vitamins. Yep, that is the Hulk Hogan there. What are your thoughts on Magnum TA? I think he was not in that car accident. He would have been an all-time great. I know he was going to be pushed as an all-time great. He was going to get everything kind of. He was lined up. He was lined up to be the champion. He was lined up to win the title from Flair. That was ultimately where he was going to go. And the car accident changed the trajectory of everything. And then, it ended up being, where they're at. But also that is what, brought Nikita Koloff to a baby face as well. When you look back at some of those things, Magnum TA, man, dude, he was awesome, dude. I did the belly to belly when I first started wrestling as a finish, because my name when I started was Tank, but then I went to my name Sean Allen, and then that was kind of a tribute to Magnum TA, although it's my name, but it was a tribute to him because, dude, I loved him, man. That dude, when he came out there, and the best of 7 with Nikita and the matches he had with Tully, with the freaking, he breaks, just so, when you sat there and you looked, dude, and it's one of those things, Steve says it all the time, is with the Ronda Rousey and things. Every time he was in a feud, and Dusty with the same way, I guess, and because he was so close to Dusty, maybe a lot of that was happening. And I agree with you, Ron. Give you to the win. Don't tell me he's going to lose it that way. Okay. They were so close to each other that they started almost being the same. Like, Magnum would always get beat down, and he came out fired up, like, I'm coming after you in a steel cage, and and you just believed that every match that Magnum TA was in, that it was a fight, and that was exactly what it was. My all-time favorite George Animal Steel. Yeah, dude, you gotta love George Steele. Eating turnbuckles. Love when Macho Man turned his back on the Mega Powers on Hogan. Yes. That was, again, that's one of those things where you sit there and lazy lightsaber, hello. The firing hammerlock was so vicious. I never figured on how he did it without hurting his opponent. Yeah, Steve, that's a good point. I got to see how he hooked it now. Let me go back and watch that and see, because you're right there. I wonder now. Now you got me wondering how he did that. All right, here we go. Ron, I think you might be a little bit ahead of me, man. Oh, no. No. Oh, good God. Thank God. He kicked out. I'm sorry. You guys are watching me watch Wheeler Yuta and Moxley right here. And I thought they were going to put over Moxley. And Blackjack Mulligan. Yep. Ox Baker. Yes. Love me some championship wrestling from Florida. I love championship wrestling in Florida back then. One Man Gang, Dusty. Let me see here. Hopefully, is he going to choke him out? Probably. We'll see what happens here. Wheeler's not going to. And for those that don't know, I'm watching AEW Rampage while I'm sitting here doing the show, and you're catching my little bit of raw emotion on this match, because it's been a hell of a match, and Wheeler Yuta's been bleeding about like a stuffed pig. Yeah, Ron, I think you're right. I think it's going to be one of those things where he's just going to, or he might get knocked out here with the knees. It's going to be one of those things where he's not going to quit. He's not going to quit, dude. Wahoo McDaniel, dude, going back in the days there, man. Those Chief Wahoo McDaniel was, he was the, what's funny is he was the enforcer in the locker room, man. And he was legit. He was legit. People were scared of him. Sorry, I was watching a move real quick. But yeah, man. I mean, I don't know who's my favorite villain. Somebody asked me who's that. Who was up here that said Andres asked me the favorite villain. Man, who would my favorite villain be? Might be Rick Rude, man. You know what? Honestly, it might be Rick Rude. Just because I loved when he did the whole thing with Jake the Snake Roberts and he painted the wife on the tights and all that stuff. And then when he used to get in there and he'd be like, you know, just tell everybody shut up and take a look what a real man's supposed to look like and all that stuff, man. It's just like, oh, oh, he didn't give up. He didn't give up. I'll tell you that much. That was a hell of a fight right there. So I think Rick Rude, as far as heel personas go, would be one of my favorite heels. Just because everybody you'd love to hate him. And then another one going back a little bit further, Chris Adams when he was a heel. He was from England. I don't know how many people might know him. World Class Championship Wrestling days. Him and Gino Hernandez formed a tag team. And he's this English, and he had the English accent and just came across as freaking so conniving. And then he throws in the accent. And it was like one of those things where you just wanted to just grab him through the TV and beat him up. And then Alexander News Show said, I'd love WWE to create a new Undertaker. It's like Son Undertaker. This would be good. I think it's a good in theory. I just don't know that you're going to get anybody that can be that character nowadays. I don't know. And then also have, people buy into that character. That's the thing, man, is The Undertaker was, and by Undertaker, I mean Mark Calloway, was able to take, that character. And if you watched it evolve, there was gray gloves, there was purple gloves, there was, a little darker hair, there was some eyeliner every once in a while. And then, when that got a little bit old, then, he started wearing the tie, and then he was wearing the tie with the cut off sleeves. Then he went to the full jacket. There's just so many different things there that and I guess you'd have got accepted into the club. Sorry about that. There were so many layers to the Undertaker that I just don't know. He was listed as 6'10". Not sure. I think it was around that. I think it was legit 6'9", 6'10". He had played basketball before. I just don't know that you're going to find somebody that can carry on and that would want to carry on that. Because now, not only are you being the son of the Undertaker now you're, quote unquote, son of the Undertaker, you got to live up to the Undertaker. You're talking about trying to get out of a shadow of something. Woo, I don't know. That might end up being more taking somebody down than anything else. Just the pressure of being that, that persona and having to take over and be, the son of the Undertaker. Oh my goodness. Muhammad Hassan was a good. Yes, he was until he wasn't. Adams, the originator of Super Kick. Yeah, he was so good at yes. Harley Taker. I don't know. Is that a Harley Race and Undertaker together? We've combined Harley Race and the Undertaker, and we've become Harley Taker. All righty. All right, guys, man. Appreciate everybody so much. Andres, Alexander, Steve, Ron, Tony, Dad out there, Greater Good, Lazy Lightsaber. Let's make sure I got everybody here. Andres, I think I got you, but just in case, say again. Derek, appreciate you, man. Steve, as always. Jorge Luis Ochoa, thank you, my man. And I think I'm Greater Good. Thank you, my bud. Appreciate it, man. I think I've got everybody now. Murphy earlier on. Appreciate you. And JP on Sports as well. And everybody that's tuned in, maybe didn't jump in the chat, but I thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you hit that smash that hit like button. Smash the hit button. Smash that like button for me. Help me out with all the algorithms and everything. He became the Undertaker. He sold the character well. Yes, he did. And Alexander News Show. Tune into the Alexander News Show on YouTube channel. Make sure you guys go check out Alexander. He's checking us out. Make sure you check him out. Take care, everyone. Until next time, in the words of the great Gordon Soley, like I always say, so long from the Sunshine State.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins,